All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, and Kakwadash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. It's coming back with another lesson. Me and Captain Gamal, we were doing a live today. And somebody came on to make a comment, saying they wanted the earth to be saved, and pretty much that they didn't want war, uh, that coming in the mind frame of wanting to save this place. They said the world, but we know that the world, ultimately will not be destroyed, but Babylon the Great, aka America, will definitely be destroyed, wiped clean, on the earth. But make no mistake about it, the earth is gonna be torn to pieces, man. Everything is gonna be pretty much rubble. Once those missiles start flying around the world, it's gonna be a lot of chaos, man. A whole lot of destruction. The scriptures speak about the mountains and islands, land masses being moved out of their places. So it's gonna be utter destruction. But the earth is still gonna be here. And I just want to play this clip, and then we're gonna get a couple scriptures, going into the earth being not, completely destroyed, but torn to pieces. And the heathen, they're gonna build it back up, man. So we're gonna go into that. So let's get this portion of the video that we did today, where Cap is gonna read the comment from whoever that might have been. So let's get it.
China getting that, because that's what Trump said. He said, I can't let Russia and China get Greenland because that's too close. I hope we can save this beautiful blue planet before it's too late. We're at a tipping point. We either stop the wars or we destroy ourselves. It's that simple. You must be new here. There's no saving this planet. All right.
Yeah, so Cap went on to break it down for this person, man. Just let them know, that the Earth is gonna be completely different. After the Third World War, and ultimately the kingdom of heaven is gonna be set up. So let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. Salakia, all of it. See, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 4. So it says, one generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. So, the earth is gonna be here, man. Even through World War III. But the only thing that's gonna be destroyed completely is Babylon the Great, aka America. So, and after the destruction, it's gonna be a time where the elect is gonna be beamed up, the remnant, and the heathen are gonna be here. But once that appointed time is over, man, we coming back, and these heathen, Lord willing, I'm one of those men, but these heathen, are gonna build the lands back up, man. As we want it. Streets of gold, the beautiful description of the kingdom of heaven. Who you think gonna do that work, man? It's gonna be these heathen out here. So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 2. Psalm chapter 2. And we just gonna go to verse 8. It says, ask of me, and I shall give the heathen for thine inheritance. And who are the heathen? The heathen are the other nations outside of the nation of Israel, man. Outside of the 12 tribes of Israel. It says, for thine inheritance. So they're going to be a possession. Matter of fact, let's go into this word inheritance. Thine inheritance. Something inherited. Occupancy. Heirloom. Generally an estate, patrimony, or portion, heritage, inherited, possession. That's the key word right there. Possession. Property, possession, property, inheritance, portion, share, inheritance. So clearly the Lord is saying that these heathen are going to be divided up. They're going to be divided up amongst the children of Israel. And they're going to be a possession. They're going to be doing all the work, all the hardcore labor, to build the kingdom up. So it says, ask of me, and I shall give the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So, there it is. Everything that's on the earth, is going to be in possession of the Israelites, the children of Israel, man. It's self-explanatory, really. But that just goes to show you that, these people have been blinded, to think that this place is going to abide forever as it is. And that's wrong. The Lord is going to come back and set up his kingdom, a righteous kingdom, a righteous rulership. So let's go to verse 9. It says, thou shalt break them with the rod of iron. That's hardcore bondage, man. Hardcore labor, Break them mentally, physically, spiritually, to be built back up, man. The proper way. It says, thou shalt dash them into pieces like a potter's vessel. So, they get out of line, and hammer coming down, man. It's just going to be real strict, in the kingdom of heaven. It says, be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. So the elect, is going to be pretty much the government, of the kingdom of heaven, keeping everything in line, keeping people in line, making sure everything runs smoothly, man. And we know at first it's going to be rocky because these heathen going to bulk up. But once they see, that spiritual power take effect, they going to know they don't have a chance, man. So they don't, only thing they have to do is bow down and do what they told to do. And follow the laws of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. That's what's going to happen. From there, let's go to the book of Isaiah, because this right here describes exactly what's going to take place. The book of Isaiah chapter 60, and we're going to get it in the NLT, because it's going to pretty much tell you how these heathen are going to build up the kingdom, So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 60 in the NLT. And let's see. We'll go to verse 10. This is what's gonna happen. This is how the world, the kingdom of heaven, is gonna be built back up. It's the book of Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 10. It says, foreigners, these heathen, will come to rebuild your towns, and their kings will serve you. That inheritance, that possession, It says, for though I have destroyed you in my anger, I will now have mercy on you through my grace. And it's speaking to the Israelites, because we've been completely destroyed, spiritually and mentally, and in some cases physically, by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua for our transgressions, man. The Lord punished us, harshly, for going off, not abiding to his laws, and what he expected of us. So, serving other gods and completely being out of order. So, you know, through that disobedience, the Lord really destroyed us. So verse 11 says, your gates will stay open day and night to receive the wealth of many lands. So these people, speaking of these heathen, they're going to bring their wealth to us, man. They're not going to have a choice. First of all, once they see how the Israelites going to be getting down, with the spiritual power and, the weaponry, chariots, all that, man. They gonna be so frightened they ain't gonna know what to do. So they ain't gonna have no choice but to give their wealth over, So it says, the kings of the world will be led as captives in a victory procession, and that's like a parade, like once these NBA teams, these athletic teams or whatever win a championship, they had that parade, man, that championship parade, So these heathen are gonna be marched around while we celebrate, man. We're gonna probably have them lined up, we're gonna be celebrating, Verse 12, it says, for the nations that refuse to serve you will be destroyed. And it don't get no plainer than that, man. No plainer than that, So to that person that's hoping that things go back to normal, you're gonna be sadly mistaken, man. So the best thing to do is continue to listen, continue to learn, so you'll know what's to come, And obviously the Lord led you there, to that particular video, because clearly you didn't know what was going on. But hey, if you're an Israelite, continue to watch and learn. And if you're a heathen, you just heard your fate, man. You're gonna be building up the kingdom. So with that being said, we want to constantly give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom.